Good afternoon and welcome to the Embedded Executive Podcast. My name is Rich Nass. I am with Embedded Computing Design. My guest this week is actually a repeat guest. He did so good, we asked him to come back. Simon Ford with Blecon. How you doing, Simon?
Very good. And yes, it's great to be back talking to you, Rich.
You know more about Bluetooth than almost anybody that I know. However, this discussion that we're going to have, in my opinion, is a little bit challenging because we're mixing industrial applications, Industry 4.0, with Bluetooth, and you generally don't hear those two terms mentioned together. So why are we talking about Bluetooth and industrial?
Bluetooth, as you say, it's a very well-known technology, and very robust in even in noisy environments. From a technical point of view, it's a great technology. But the real cheat that it has is it's embedded in loads of mobile devices. And what's been happening over the last, I guess, 5-10 years is mobile computers are becoming essential to how businesses run their frontline workers. The reason Bluetooth is suddenly
Let me
coming
interrupt
up on
you
the
there
radar.
for 1 second because I like to interrupt. When when you say frontline workers, who are you referring to? You're not talking about the people who are on the factory floor, right?
No, absolutely. Yeah. People on the factory floor, people in warehousing, people in logistics. I mean, maybe it's outside the topic of this conversation, but even into, the environments like shops and things like that where work gets done. So, yeah, by frontline workers, I really mean people on the front line doing things, moving things, making all these companies operate. Yeah.
Okay, I'm preempting your discussion, but I'm going to do it anyway. Don't these people already have Wi-Fi embedded in all their devices anyway?
They do, yeah, and that's how they're on the networks. That's how they're on the internet. So all of these devices they're carrying around, they're already connected. To do their job, to be, told what task needs to be done next, to interact with objects around them, scanning barcodes, whatever it might be. These devices are already purchased. They're already on the IT systems. They're already blessed by security, et cetera, et cetera. They're already getting charged up every night. These devices that companies have made a huge investment over the years in this type of technology, and it really is how companies now operate. The fact that these connected devices are already out there is the reason why Bluetooth suddenly becomes interesting, because they can take on another life of actually not just interacting with the person that's holding them, but interacting with objects nearby. And that's where it's getting really interesting for us.
Okay, I'm confused though. Why would you use Bluetooth and not the Wi-Fi?
Well, I mean, for the applications people are looking to do, it's things like identifying objects, tracking objects, getting sensor data out of things around the environments they're working. And Bluetooth is just such a natural technology for that because it's so low power, it's so low cost to embed into things. It can run for long periods on batteries, maybe even scavenge energy. It's naturally built to interact with these devices. The Wi-Fi on these devices being used to connect to the backhaul. You don't want to interrupt that. Whereas a Bluetooth device can be detected transparently just as a worker goes about their job. The main application here is these mobile computers that are milling about wherever people are doing their jobs, that they can start spotting Bluetooth tags, Bluetooth beacons, Bluetooth sensors in the background without interrupting what that worker is doing. And that's all just by installing an agent on those devices themselves that can do that in the background. So it's kind of like a free, a very simple way for companies to get additional data from things that are around the people that are doing work for them.
So why now? Bluetooth has been around forever. Why all of a sudden do you think that this has a place?
Yeah, well, I guess it's been growing, quite quietly for years. So it's not like this is, suddenly a new thing. In fact, quite the opposite. I think the reason it's taking off is because it is so an established technology. It's trusted technically. It's in all these devices, but there are, things happening. People are getting more familiar with using data from these sensors. There's a lot more interest thanks to AI making answering questions from data a lot more accessible. And then on the flip side, the actual cost of Bluetooth tags and sensors, and we're even working on sticky labels that have Bluetooth built into them. That's the cost is going down and the ability to answer questions is going up. So it's sort of a perfect storm of a technology that's been, like I say, it's quietly trotting along for a long time. But I think things compound, and I think over the next couple of years it will feel like an overnight success, but actually it's been building and building. So great for us and a great time to be working on this thing. But I don't think it's anything magic, unfortunately.
There's a perception that Bluetooth is for the consumer space and for your average end user, and Wi-Fi and proprietary protocols are what you use on the factory floor. Is that a problem for somebody who's looking to implement the technology to get past that perception, whether it's real or not?
I think it's mixed. So, I mean, Bluetooth is very trusted in industrial environments and has been for a long time. It's a very robust technology. So I think for the people who understand it, there's no question. It's interesting. It doesn't take much for people to realize why it's such a good fit. So I think you're right that the general perception would be it's a consumer technology. It's what your headphones connect with, right? And that's even Bluetooth Classic. So that's not the newer Bluetooth Low Energy standard that's been out for a long time. So you're right, but I think it doesn't take much to explain things to people. That when you explain this is a technology that's in every mobile device, like billions of mobile devices. Not many other technologies have that privilege. It's been tried and tested, like you say, for many years. Not many technologies have that privilege. And then when you just look at the economies, the financial economies of scale and the cost points these sorts of things can hit, I think it's like a lot of things that when you just talk to someone, it absolutely makes sense. It's nice to be able to say, oh, you've come across AirTags. Some people think AirTags are GPS. But as soon as you say, well, that's Bluetooth working now, it's like, oh, okay, So we haven't found it to be hard. There's definitely a sort of a learning aspect to it, but no, I think it makes sense. And the fact that all these devices that a company has already invested in, you can just say, by the way, it's already got a Bluetooth chip in it. Right. Install this agent. So we call it the Blecon agent, and suddenly it gets this new lease of capabilities. No hardware to be purchased. That's really compelling. So haven't found it to be a problem, but that definitely it's something that is not obvious to a lot of people at the moment. But I think that doesn't seem to be a barrier once they start realizing what it's capable of.
Okay. There are many different definitions of Industry 5.0. I know I have my definition, but do you expect to see something related to Bluetooth included in one of these revisions of Industry 5.0, or is that a non-issue? Doesn't even matter?
I mean, I think possibly it doesn't matter. So a lot of the Industry 4.0, 5.0 is very tied to manufacturing structural lines and integrating systems and things like that. Whereas what we're seeing is a lot of companies are looking for more systems that can cope with a bit more of an ad hoc nature. They spinning up a site very quickly, leveraging technology they already own without having to make a big capital investment to unlock new capabilities. So I do think maybe it's hard to know whether it fits under that bracket. If Industry 5.0 includes that level of understanding, flexibility and dynamism and being able to move quickly, a part of it, I think maybe it will start appearing under that. But I don't know if it matters. I think the behaviors of how companies are now operating, using digitizing everything, pushing software to the front line to understand what's going on, help employees be more effective, these sorts of things. I think that's just a general trend, and whether you name it something, it almost doesn't matter.
Right.
It may be for proliferation of a concept. It's really important, but I think it's very clear that understanding what's going on versus what was planned to go on is a big deal. And being able to ask questions of your reality is a big deal. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that's how we're seeing it. Like the
Okay.
trend, whether it's yeah, that's the trend. It's the thirst for data and understanding what's really going on.
Right. And what's the Blecon contribution here?
Yeah, well, for a lot of companies, actually understanding, I guess what would originally have been asset tracking, understanding where things that are important to your business and important to make it run are, was where it starts. And the agent that we can install on these frontline devices can immediately light up all of a company's devices as a tracking network. Um, but I guess what's interesting is then people are looking beyond that to, well, what's actually going on? So they're looking for sensing and condition monitoring and, other data, other types of data from these physical environments. And we've sort of taken that beacon technology and moved it to the next step where it can do that. So yeah, the fact that people can very quickly deploy almost as an IT operation, the ability to turn their fleet into a sensing network is really quite powerful. And it definitely changes the equation on how people think about rolling out technology and the risk of rolling out technology. So yeah, I guess that's what we're really leaning into. This is you can, if you can roll out infrastructure a lot more quickly and a lot lower risk, well, surprisingly that impacts adoption. So that combined with the other things that, like I say, we're going on with Bluetooth sensors, Bluetooth labels. It's a really interesting inflection point for how people deploy infrastructure.
Okay. So when I have you on the podcast again next year, what are we going to be talking about?
Oh, interesting. So my suspicion is that the some of the applications will have come from left field. So as I say, tracking is where a lot of people think about this technology, but actually monitoring cold chain, for example, and actually what's happened throughout a whole supply chain, even when you didn't have visibility, the sort of technology we've built allows things like that. That's a capability that isn't perhaps obvious to people at the moment, and I think that might actually um, move a lot faster than people imagine. I think the march of these mobile devices and the using them as infrastructure will accelerate a lot quicker than people imagine. So I suspect it will be around surprising use cases and how the adoption has turned up in industries you wouldn't necessarily expect.
Well, I thought that's what this year's podcast was about. We put Bluetooth into the industrial space, and that was unexpected for me. So I
Yeah,
definitely look forward to
absolutely.
see what's even more unexpected for next year.
Yeah, me too.
Very good. Thank you, Simon. I appreciate taking the time.